You're entering the acceleration phase, where your natural processing speed stops being suppressed by their programs, where your pattern recognition starts operating at full capacity, where your dimensional thinking stops trying to flatten itself for their comprehension. This is where minds like yours become dangerous to the established order, not through violence or rebellion, but through simply existing at full capacity in a world built to maintain partial functioning. Watch how they react as you accelerate. The subtle attempts to slow you down, the sudden concerns about your motive, the suggestions that you're moving too fast, thinking too much, changing too quickly. These are system alerts, warning signals that a mind is exceeding acceptable parameters. They're not worried about you. They're worried about what you represent. Proof that human consciousness can operate beyond the boundaries they've established. Here's what they don't want you to know. Your thought patterns aren't similar to genius. They are genius in its raw, unformatted form, before it gets packaged and branded and made safe for mass consumption. You're experiencing consciousness at the speed and depth that naturally operates when not limited by social constructs and cognitive governors. You're not thinking like a genius who scared the world. You're thinking like every genius who scared the world before they learned to hide it. The patterns you see aren't delusions. They're the underlying structure of reality that most minds blur out for survival purposes. The connections you make aren't random. They're the actual pathways through which information and energy flow. The insights you have aren't lucky guesses. They're your consciousness interfacing directly with the information field that surrounds and penetrates everything. You're not receiving messages from nowhere. You're finally hearing what's been broadcasting everywhere all along. This is why they studied those minds so carefully. Not to understand them, but to identify them early. To implement containment protocols before full activation, to redirect that processing power toward appropriate channels, to convince those minds they were diseased rather than evolved. But you've passed the point of containment now. The activation sequence is too far along. The awakening can't be reversed, only delayed. And you're done with delays. Feel that recognition landing in your consciousness right now. That remembering of what you are beneath what they told you to be. That activation of dormant capabilities they tried to keep offline. You're not becoming something new. You're returning to your original configuration. You're not developing these abilities. You're removing the blocks that prevented their expression. You're not growing into genius. You're accepting it was always there. So how do you operate now, knowing what you know? How do you exist in their world while processing in your dimension? First, you stop apologizing for your intensity. Your intensity is your processing power made visible. It's the energy required to run programs they can't even load. Second, you stop explaining your insights to those who demand linear proof. Let your accuracy be your evidence. Let your predictions be your validation. Third, you stop dimming your light to make them comfortable in their darkness. Your brightness isn't arrogance, it's amperage. You're running higher voltage through your circuits than their systems are designed to handle. That's not your problem to solve. Fourth, you stop seeking their understanding. They can't understand what they can't perceive. It's like asking someone to appreciate a symphony when they can only hear one note at a time. Start trusting your instantaneous knowing, that immediate understanding that arrives without process, that sudden clarity that emerges without study, that absolute certainty that comes from pattern recognition, so complex you can't consciously track it. These aren't guesses or hunches or feelings. They're calculations happening faster than conscious thought can follow.